This is the Leadership Done Right podcast, episode 31.
Welcome to the Leadership Done Right podcast, where it's all about becoming the leader you are meant to be. And now your host, Brandon Jones.
Hello and welcome to the Leadership Done Right podcast, episode 31. First, I want to wish each of you a very happy new year. I think that 2018 is going to be the best year yet. And so I hope that you have a lot of enthusiasm and that you're really excited for the year 2018 because there's so much great stuff that's in store for all of us this year. And I want to kind of gear this podcast episode towards goal setting. Last week I talked about goal setting and some other aspects of goal setting, but I want to start by saying that with the new year upon us, now is the best time to set and or even refresh the goals that you've had in the past. And regardless of when you're listening to this episode, it's always a great time to set and work towards your goals. Right now, I'm giving this episode and it's the first of the year. And so I'm really excited for the new year. And I think that there's a lot of great things in store. And so it's just a great year. 2018, we have so much in front of us and it's going to be one of the best years ever. In last week's episode, I talked a little bit about goal setting using SMART goals, and I also talked about creating a plan and 5 keys to create your effective plan. Well, in this episode, I'm going to discuss 10 reasons why people fail to complete their goals, and I'm also going to look at 5 steps to ensure that your goals are successful. I want to ask, have you ever been discouraged when working on a goal? Have you ever failed to complete a goal? Or have you ever started working on a goal and then lost your way? If you'd answer yes to any of these questions, well, you're not alone. And many people have lost their way on goals. And in fact, here's 10 reasons why people fail to complete their goals. The first reason is because people do not have a strong enough why. They start out on their goal and they think, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. And I like this idea of doing this goal and it sounds fun and it sounds cool. But then when the going gets tough, they don't have a strong enough why that keeps them going and moving forward. I like the saying that Michael Hyatt says, where he says, when you lose your why, you lose your way. It's very easy for a goal to fall apart because you've forgotten why you started. And so before you even get into a goal, before you start moving down that track, whether it's a goal of having a weight loss program or starting a new business or becoming a better leader at work, having more influence over those that you lead, whatever the goal is, make sure that why is a strong enough why to motivate you through the good times and the bad, because no matter what, there's always going to be good times and there's going to be bad times, and it's going to be challenging. Goals are not easy and they're not always fun, but they are definitely always worth it if there's a strong enough why behind it. So start out with a strong why. The goal, if you have a strong why, you'll be able to push through the hard times. But if you don't, it'll likely fail, which in the end, it just leads to frustration and discouragement. So start out before you even get into the thick of it with your goal. Write out your why and make sure that it's a why that will keep you going when the going gets tough. Number 2, there's no commitment. Goals fail when there's no commitment. And that means, every goal, there's going to be a point where something is going to get in the way, whether that's other people, whether that's a difficult challenge that happens in the middle of the goal. No matter what it is, you have to have commitment. I like the example of, how many of us have ever set the New Year's resolution to wake up early and go to the gym, and then a few weeks into the goal, the nice warm bed, especially in the cold of the winter, the nice warm bed is so much more inviting than the cold floor at the gym and the cold gym in and of itself. So not too long into that goal, we sit back and we say, that bed's a lot more comfortable and a lot more inviting. So I think I'm just going to skip it today and I'll go tomorrow. Well, sooner or later, that it continues to get pushed off until tomorrow. And then tomorrow, it just never comes. And we are no longer doing that goal and our commitment has faded and that goal just it's not even there anymore. So to be successful, we must be committed to our goals. Often the goals seem simple and easy in the beginning, but as you get into the thick of them, they are challenging and more complex than you even thought. So be sure to identify and look at all the different challenges that will come up when that goal happens, and identify what are the challenges that you'll encounter, and what kind of a level of commitment will you have to be able to work through those challenges to complete that goal. Number 3 is a lack of direction. Goals often fail because there's a lack of direction, and a strong why and a high level of commitment, it's not necessarily a guaranteed formula for success. Goals can still fail because there's a lack of direction, because there's always going to be a point where the pathway will become a little bit unclear. So at that point, it's easy to say, you know what, I'm going to take a little hiatus until it becomes a little bit more clear, because I really don't know where I need to go from here. I'm kind of at a stopping point, and I just really don't know where I need to go. What is the next step to reach my goal and to complete my goal? Well, when you stop for that hiatus, that often leads to the goal being forgotten, and then you just it's kind of like not having a strong enough why or a lack of commitment. That goal just falls to the wayside, and we stop working on that goal, and the goal is just it just falls apart and it gets forgotten. So plan time to clarify your direction. When you're working towards your goal, set aside time to work on the goal, but then also set aside time to work on clarifying your direction so that you have a clear direction that you need to go when the hard times come. Number 4 is that the goal is not clear. Often goals can be a little bit ambiguous or a little bit not as clear as they need to be. Now, an example of that would be to say, if you're a leader within an organization, if you say, this year we're going to make the organization better. Well, what does that mean? If you're working to make the organization better, does that mean that you're going to help your employees have a little bit better morale? Are you going to help them to be more excited about their job? Are you going to increase the profit? Are you going to produce more of the widgets that your company produces? What does that mean to make the organization better? Each person, whether you or anybody else, other people are probably going to see your goals. And when they see your goals, they're going to say, okay, well, that's what my leader wants me to do, and that's what his goal is. So I'm going to try to emulate that goal. And they're going to set goals based off of that. And if your goals aren't clear, they're going to interpret it one way while you're interpreting a different way. And that will lead to confusion, and it just gets difficult at that point. So make your goals clear and easy to understand and follow so that you can follow them. And, maybe 6 months from now, when you look back, you can say, you know what, every step of the way, I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. I know what that goal meant. I knew exactly what actions I needed to take because that goal was clear. You want a goal that is going to be clear every step of the way so you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it. Number 5 is that priorities are not aligned with goals. How many of us have ever said, my goal is to work out, but my number one priority in the morning is to get out of bed, go to work, go to my activities after work, come home, spend time with my family, get my kids in bed, then sit in front of the TV and watch 3 hours of TV before I go to bed just to start all over again the next day. Well, if your goal is to work out and lose weight, and your schedule is such that you don't have any time set aside to lose weight and work out, well, then your priorities are not aligned with your goals. It's really important that you align your priorities with your goal so that you set aside time to work on that goal every day, or at least every week. It's not always the case that we can set aside time every day for our goals, but we need to be able to set aside time every week to at least look at our goals and work on those goals. So make sure that your priorities are aligned with your goals so that, if you say that you're going to work out and you're going to lose weight, that you schedule time in your day and in your week to work out so that you can work on losing weight. Number 6, fear gets in the way. Worthwhile goals, they always stretch us, and often that's beyond our comfort zone. So when that happens, that's when fear starts to creep in. Fear gets in the way and it says, you know what, you really don't want to do this because it's going to be really hard. It's going to be difficult. I really don't know that you want to do it. So that's when the fear tends to get the best of us. It damages our self-confidence and it causes mental setbacks, and it often leads to frustration and discouragement. And that fear, it holds us back from reaching our goals. Instead, we have to anticipate that there's going to be fear. Fear is always going to creep its way in. And when that fear comes, be confident in yourself and be confident in your abilities, and then let that confidence carry you through the hard times so that the fear can't take over. Because the last thing that we want is to set goals that stretch us, that help us to grow and become a better person, and then we let fear midway through get in the way, and then it just takes us completely off course. So be confident in yourself. I have confidence in you that if you work hard and you set that goal, that you can complete that goal. And I have no doubt. I know I've been able to do that in my own life, and I've seen a lot of other people do that as well. So don't let the fear get in the way. Work hard, do your best, and be confident in yourself that if you put forth your very best effort, there's going to be challenges, but fear doesn't have to be one of them. You can work through that fear, and you can make that goal a reality. Number 7 is that often we have too many goals at one time. Have you ever set a goal for weight loss, a goal for a career, a goal for leadership, a goal for financial stability, a goal for this and that and the other, and pretty soon you have 15 different goals. Now, sometimes if those goals fall right in line with each other, that's okay. But often, if the goals are too far apart, spread out, and don't align well together, then it sends us in too many different directions, and we can't focus on any one goal enough to make that goal a reality. So goals, they often fail because we have too many goals set all at once. And what happens is we lose our focus, and we experience slow or no progress, and it causes us to not be able to hone our skills on any one thing. And we're stretched and we're pulled in different directions. And it comes to the point where you get so discouraged with so many different goals that you say, you know what, I can't do any of it. I'm just done. And that is the last thing that we want. We want to focus our efforts, focus our time and our energy on the goals that are most important. And if there's a lot of goals that you have in mind, prioritize those goals. Set one goal for this year or this month or this quarter, whatever the period may be, and then set the next goal for the next quarter, the next period, the next time down the road, and work on one goal or a few goals that kind of directly correlate in a specific short time period, and then work on the next goal. But don't set all these different goals that you need to do everything all at the same time, because that will just deviate you. It'll take you off course, and it'll lead to discouragement. And then pretty soon you'll find that you're not working on any of the goals because it's just too overwhelming. Number 8 is that we give up when the going gets tough or when it gets hard. Every goal, like I've said through this podcast, every goal gets hard at some point or another. There's always a point when goals and goal setting is challenging and it requires dedication. And that dedication, it requires our best effort, and we have to take time to complete it. If you expect the instant gratification, then you're probably going to get disappointed, because the best goals are the ones that they stretch us and they drive us for long-term growth and long-term benefit. And often, sometimes there are immediate benefits and immediate gratification from those goals, but often the goals, they take a lot longer and there's a lot more work that comes in. And so if we expect that we need to have gratification right away and right now, and we give up when the going gets hard, it's really disappointing for ourselves and for all those around us that see us working on those goals. Every worthwhile goal, you'll meet resistance at some point, and it's easy to give up when that going gets tough. But if you do, you'll be frustrated with yourself and you'll have regrets. Instead, push through that resistance. Work as hard as you can and work harder, and look ahead of where you're at now and say, you know what? When am I going to hit those resistance? When am I going to hit that resistance? And when is it going to get hard? Because When that happens, that's when you need to put forth extra effort and work as hard as you can, because if you do that, you'll be so happy with your progress and you'll be so satisfied with yourself. And it won't necessarily be easy. That it definitely won't be easy, but if you work through it and you do everything you can to keep pushing through, then you'll feel so good at the end. Number 9 is if there's no deadline. Goals fail when there's no deadline. Have you ever had a goal to do something and said, well, let's do this sometime in the future? Well, if your schedule's anything like mine and your life is anything like mine, you probably are always busy. You have family, work, church, and a wide variety of other activities that tend to take precedence in your life. And those sometime in the future activities always seem to get pushed to the side. They always do get pushed to the side until you say, you know what, I'm going to work hard to make this happen in the next 5 months, or my goal is to do X, Y, and Z by the end of this month. If you do that, it's so much easier to work towards it. And it doesn't always mean that you'll hit that goal within that period that you set, but if you're working on it, if you're actively doing everything you can to reach that goal by the end of the month, or by the end of the quarter, by the end of the half the year, whatever it is, then you'll be able to work towards it and you'll be able to make it a reality. So I have to say, goals have to have deadlines. When you set goals and you have deadlines, you'll work to complete your goals within that deadline. And like I've said before, there's going to be resistance, there's going to be challenges, but when you have those challenges and when you have those deadlines and you work hard to complete them within those deadlines, you'll be able to make those goals a reality and you'll be able to accomplish them. So set a deadline and work to accomplish that goal by that deadline. And then on a periodic basis, I know I said in the last episode that you need to create a plan and you need to constantly review and refresh that plan. Always look at the deadline and look at where you're at in your progress and determine if you're on course. And if you're not on course, then you can always change the deadline and you can work on whatever it is that you're working on. You can take steps every day or every week to make that goal become a reality. Number 10, another reason why goals fail is because there's an insufficient or no plan at all. I like the saying that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, because that's always true. If you don't even create a plan, then you're going to fail because there's no plan. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's just the fact of the matter. So when you create your goals, like I talked about in the last episode, you need to create a plan. How are you going to get from where you're at now to having that goal completed? What steps are you going to take daily, weekly, monthly to make that goal a reality? What are you going to do? What resistance are you going to meet? How are you going to overcome that resistance? When you create your plan, look at all these different aspects and set a clear plan so that it will guide you to complete your goal. And the plan should outline the strategy and define how you will complete your goals. By doing that goal and that plan will work itself out so that you'll be able to complete your goal. And when there's no plan or there's an insufficient plan, what tends to happen is that we drift aimlessly with limited or no direction at all. So create that plan, work your plan, and then do everything you can to follow through on a daily, weekly, monthly basis so that you're refreshing, reviewing, and you're making that goal and that plan a reality. Well, that completes the list of 10 that I had. If you've ever failed to complete a goal, you're not alone, and there's no need to get discouraged. Just start doing everything you can and following these steps today and make that change. Make it happen. Take steps to become better and improve your goal setting strategy right now. So I just want to go back through that list of the 10 reasons why people fail to complete their goals. The first is that there's not a strong enough why. Number 2 is no commitment. Number 3 is lack of direction. Number 4, goals are not clear. Number 5, priorities are not aligned with goals. Number 6, fear gets in the way. Number 7, too many goals at once. Number 8, give up when the going gets hard. Number 9, no deadline. And number 10, insufficient or no plan. And I'll have all these points lined out in this show note. So if it's a lot and you're driving right now or doing whatever you're doing, you can always go back and look at the show notes, and it will have each of these points listed out. Well, before we move on to the 5 steps to ensure that your goals are successful, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors.
Most great leaders go through years of trial and error, classes, and on-the-job training before becoming great leaders. However, that's not required for everyone. You can learn the principles great leaders live by and start living them today. In the book, Become the Leader You Are Meant to Be, Brandon explains basic leadership principles to help you become a great leader now. He also shares his experiences and experiences of others so you can learn from their examples. And finally, he explains practical steps you can take now to improve your leadership. This great book is yours absolutely free just by visiting leadershipdoneright.com/ebook giveaway. So check it out today for your free copy.
All right, welcome back. Now that we've discussed 10 reasons people fail to complete their goals, we're going to look at the 5 additional steps you can take to ensure your goals are successful. Number 1 is communicate your goals to others. When you communicate your goals to others, tell people around you about your goals and what you expect to accomplish and the time commitment required. How many of us have ever said, I'm going to study and become better in one particular area, and then when we start working and studying to become better in that one particular area, our significant other or our friends or our family members or our coworkers or our boss or whoever it is, they come in and they say, you know what? You're spending too much time on this, and I really need you to work on that, or I really would like you to come with me to do this and that and the other, and they try to pull you away from that goal and that commitment that you've given to yourself. So it's important that you let other people know the goals that you're working on. They will be, if you do that, they'll be much more likely to support and encourage you. And even if they don't support and encourage you, they'll at least know what you're working on and they'll understand what you're trying to accomplish. So share your goals with those people. Let them know what you're doing and ask them that they help you through the journey, because it's going to be challenging. And hopefully, I've seen many times in my life that when you let other people know what your goals are, they don't become an obstacle for you to complete your goals. You say, you know what, I really need your help. I really need your support so that I can complete this goal. And if you do that, then they're really helpful and they'll help you to make that goal a reality. When you're communicating your goals with others, be really careful on who you share it with, though, too, because there's other people out there that they're the natural naysayers. They're going to be the people that will say, if you say, you know what, I'm going to climb a mountain, they're going to say, you know, really, do you think you're going to climb a mountain? The last person that tried to climb that mountain, they're going to find the worst case scenario, and they're going to say, if you try to do this, this is what's going to happen to you. And in reality, you got to be careful who you're going to share those goals with, because there's going to be those people that are going to be the natural naysayers that are going to try to hold you back. And if you think of somebody and you say, you know what, they're going to try and hold me back, then maybe it's better that you say, I'm going to work on this goal, and you think about it yourself, but you don't go into all the detail with them, or you just say, you know what, I'm working on something that I really need your help and I need your focus to help me work through this. But you got to be selective on what you tell who you, and how much information you give to everybody, because you don't want those natural naysayers to pull you down. On the other hand, you definitely want to help those who are going to be your encouragers and help you work through everything. You definitely want to let them in on the plan. Number 2 is select an accountability partner. I like to go back to the example of a gym, because how many of us, if we have an accountability partner, somebody that's going to depend on us to be there in the morning or be there whenever it is, if we say, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do everything I can to make this a reality, if we tell them that we're going to do it and we know that they're going to follow up with us, that accountability partner, it needs to be somebody who's going to hold you accountable, that's going to say, where are you at on your goal? What's in your way? What are you doing to overcome that thing that's in your way? And what are we going to do to keep moving this goal forward? You want someone that's going to hold you accountable. When we have somebody, you know, whether it's a gym partner, a goal accountability partner for some other type of a goal, that accountability partner, they'll push us when we need to be pushed, And just knowing that they're going to follow up with us on a periodic basis, that alone is enough to drive us to work hard to complete that goal. And one thing to keep in mind is that you don't want somebody who's going to push you in a way that you're not comfortable. You want somebody that's going to push you and push you in the way that works best for you. So if you're one of those people that you need somebody that's just going to be in your face and telling you to get it done, then you probably want somebody as an accountability partner that's going to push you in that way. If you're somebody that's going to hurt your feelings or cause you distress or kind of slow you down, then you probably don't want somebody that's going to be in your face like that. You want somebody that's going to help you and encourage you and things like that. But you definitely want an accountability partner, because that accountability partner is going to help us. They're going to push us when we're feeling lazy or when we're kind of letting off the gas a little bit, and they're going to help us to reach those goals and make them a reality. Number 3 is to post your goals in a visible place. Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine, and they said that they have their kids write out their own goals, and then they post them on their door to their bedroom. So whenever they go into their bedroom, whenever they come out of their bedroom, they always see their goals. Now, if the bedroom door isn't the best place for you, because anytime you go through that door, you're about to go to sleep, and it just kind of holds you back if you see your goals, well, maybe that's not the best place. But think of a place that's going to be a place where you're going to see it on a day-to-day basis, whether that's your bathroom, your kitchen, your office, or another place altogether. Put your goals in a place where they're visible so that you see your goals every day. And when you see them, it's not enough to just see them, because it's easy to see, there's signs that we see in our life, whether it's, signs on the road or signs for different businesses or whatever. If they're just there and we just kind of glass-eyed look at them, then we're not even going to know what they are, and we're just going to miss them. So we need to see the signs, and we need to read them daily. We can't just see them and then, not even look at them. We need to put those goals in a visible place and then read them when they're in front of us. Number 4 is to enlist supporters. Now, this is similar to communicating our goals to others, but when we enlist supporters, we want to find those people in our lives that are going to be the people that are going to be our cheerleaders. They're going to be in the corner, and they're going to say, you know what, you can do it. You're the best. They're going to give us those words of encouragement all the time. And they're going to say, you know what, I'm so excited for you because you're working on this goal, and I know you can do it, and you just got to keep up the good work. And they're just going to constantly encourage us to do our very best. And when you talk to your supporters, you want to let them know what you're doing, and you want to say, I really need you to help me, and I want you to be a supporter. And when they're a supporter, they're just going to do everything they can to help you to reach that goal. They're going to lift you up, and they're going to help you to continue to follow through. So when you select your accountability partner, be sure to select somebody that is that person that's going to lift you up and encourage you and help you through the hard times. Number 5 is to block out the resistance. No matter what your goal is, there's always going to be resistance. Resistance is that in the morning when we're getting up and we need to get to working on our goal, but that bed is so much more comfortable, that is a form of resistance. When we are working on the computer and that Facebook notification pops up and we're so tempted to say, oh, what is that notification? What is that saying? That is the resistance. When we are focusing on getting onto our computer or, going outside and practicing, exercising, whatever that goal is, when we are getting ready to do that and somebody interrupts us and says, hey, I need your help on this or that or the other, that is a resistance. When you're doing something and a Twitter notification pops up, our phones get in the way, our internet browser has all these little pop-ups around the edge of the article we're reading. Those are all forms of the resistance. So know that the resistance is going to come. There's many forms that the resistance is going to come. Sometimes that's when you're tired. When you're tired and you get discouraged and you're in your weakest or mental or physical state, that is the resistance. And the resistance will come and it will say, you know what, you're really not good enough to do this goal. You're really not going to make it. Why are you even wasting your time on this goal? That resistance is going to try to bring you down. It's going to try to keep you from reaching your goal. So know that the resistance is going to come and have a plan on how you're going to overcome the resistance. I've heard many people say that they have a spouse that will say, you know what, at the end of the day is when you're going to get down on yourself the most. So when you start talking to your spouse and you say, you know what, this isn't working out, this isn't going well, they say to you, you know what, you're tired, go to bed, get up in the morning with a fresh mind, and then look at it again. Don't beat yourself up right now. And that doesn't have to be a spouse. It can be whoever it is that's in your life that will encourage you and help you to do your very best. But know that the resistance is going to come, and create a plan to how you're going to withstand it so that you can focus on taking the steps that you need to take to move your goal forward. Another thing that you can do is you can create affirmation statements and put those affirmation statements in front of you so that when the resistance does get the toughest, you can start saying those affirmation statements, things that will help you to overcome the resistance. Well, I just want to wrap this up by repeating the 5 steps that you can take to ensure that your goals are successful. They are: number 1, communicate your goals to others. Number 2, select an accountability partner. Number 3, post your goals in a visible place. Number 4, enlist supporters. And number 5 is to block out the resistance. I know that if you follow these 5 steps, that your goals will be successful. You will be able to accomplish anything that you put your mind to. It's not a matter of if you'll be able to complete your goals. It's a matter of how many goals and how quickly you'll be able to complete them. Because if you work hard and you do everything you can, you will be able to complete your goals. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Leadership Done Right podcast. I want to invite you to share your thoughts on goal setting with me. You can do that on the comment section on this podcast episode, or you can also visit the Facebook page or the LinkedIn group and share your thoughts on this episode and on goal setting. If you'd like to listen to the next episode of this podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever other podcast platform you use. You can also check out the full list of episodes and platforms with this podcast at leadershipdoneright.com/LDR podcast. You can also check out the show notes at leadershipdoneright.com/podcast episode 31. Thanks again for listening. My goal is to help you become a great leader. Now go and be the best leader that you can be.